I feel like I should get a warning when Zoom is doing this. All right, let's get redirected, reshifting, put my phone in do not disturb because I swear these people trying to collect some debt. I'm not trying to pay your tolls, Virginia. Leave me alone. Like I'm not paying a $50,000 admin fees that keep adding up. Let's stop the nonsense. Told you I'm not paying that. All right. Whoops. I don't know why this isn't rotating. Well, that's going to bother me. It's like wants me to readjust to this direction. All right. Looks like my guest is finally arriving. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, as that seems to be a theme. Someone had to call and disrupt this whole live. But like I said, I'm probably have to delete that last one. But this one is a DMT experience. And I'm curious to hear what she has to say. So if you're joining me, thank you. I appreciate everyone who's been a part of these live interviews so far. And let's get on with the show. Testing. Mic check 1 2 1 2. All right. Can you hear me? All right, she's connecting.
Hello.
Greetings.
Oh my goodness. Hi. Give me 1 second.
You're fine.
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
I'm trying to get my headphones so I can get you here.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Take your time. I wasn't a little prepared myself, so had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but we got that straight. Oh, Elvis has left the building. Let's see. Yeah, this has just been a night of technical difficulties, I guess. So let's see if she tries to rejoin. Oh, here she goes. All right, so she is connecting. Hello?
Hello? Okay, there you go.
We're good.
Hi.
How's it going tonight?
It's going good.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on. Like I know that the schedules weren't lining up, but we finally got you. So I'm grateful for you to be here. And
Yes, thank you.
so why don't you tell us about yourself? Where are you located right now?
I'm from Miami, Florida.
Oh,
I've lived here most of my life. I lived in Texas for about 3 years, and then I moved back. So
all right. So it looks like you're at work. So how much time? I'm not going to try to take too much of your time. So we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes of this, you know.
okay.
So you came to me tonight because you have had a DMT experience, right?
In January, I've been so I knew about ayahuasca for some time. I was pretty young when I found out, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was through a YouTube video or something like that. And I felt called to it. Let's say it like that. I felt called to it. I always wanted to travel to Peru or anywhere that I could, go in for a retreat for it. But with all the restrictions with COVID and being vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated, nor do I plan to be. So I had to take a step back. And then funny, I was scrolling through TikTok and I think it was like the first video that popped up. Someone mentioned in the it was about ayahuasca. The video was about ayahuasca, but someone in the comments mentioned this retreat that's 4 hours away from me. And I had no idea that that was a thing here in the States. But there's certain loopholes in the system, and this is why it's legal. If they put it at the church, then they can. Yeah. So anyway, I decided like if this was in like October, I think. And ever since I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I ended up booking for January 13th because they do a weekend. They also have retreats for the week, like a whole week, or I think it's a whole week, yeah. But usually it's throughout the weekend.
So just reflecting, this was this retreat in the United States?
Correct. In Florida, in Orlando, it's called Soul Quest. Let me see. Soul Quest Ayahuasca Mother Ayahuasca Church. If you look Soul Quest Orlando, it's gonna pop up.
So just so you know, you do have my undivided attention. I'm just typing and take notes on listening to what you're saying and just reflecting and going back. But I've been hearing a lot about these retreats lately, about how that's the loophole to doing quote unquote certain psychedelics in the States, because when it comes to religion, you really can't interfere with that. So the floor is yours. I'm not going to interrupt you no more. I'm going to let you just flow. And
okay.
Yeah, I want to hear all about your experience.
All right. So I got there on Friday. It was in the morning. I had no food in my system. It's one of my biggest fears, and I guess it shouldn't be because you have to purge. It's a good thing to purge. Well, to purge. I didn't want to throw up and have to keep continuously throwing up throughout the whole experience, and that's not even the worst part. There's an even worse part to that is that you can also go to the bathroom. So I didn't want to do all of that. Throwing up would be better, but I didn't want to do either. So anyway, I didn't eat. They took my vitals. They made sure I was fine. They asked you a series of questions even before you go. They ask you if you take a certain medication, if you're schizophrenic, things like that, so that they know if you can have this experience. And then from there, they showed us a room and we put our things down. And then we had like a cleansing where they had like a fire pit stage, and they would have like a ceremony with shamans, and they would kind of sage you and sage the ayahuasca. And then you'd go into your room. And it was like a little teepee. Um, and you, they say like Icaros with like songs and things like this. Um, and then you take your first dose. To start off with, if it's your first time, they usually recommend 1 tablespoon. So it's like a little shot glass. Um, and then after about I think 4 hours it is. So the journey lasts between 4 to 6 hours. About 4 hours into it, they'll do like a dong, right? Like and then they'll ask if you want another dose. So you have the opportunity to take a second dose. Um, the first time around, I did have 2 tablespoons. So I had 2 doses. So the first one was 1 tablespoon, and then on the second time around, I did another tablespoon. Um, I was kind of expecting this, like a lot of visions. I was expecting a lot of visions. I didn't have that experience. It was more like I was listening to ayahuasca, like the female voice telling me, I need to love myself more and give myself more credit on what I give myself, and probably we all do more credit than we give ourselves. And we are meant to love and for love. So I guess I think that's the biggest lesson. We are all meant to love. Like there's no other bigger thing, I don't think, more than love. To experience that. I did see. So I didn't have like I said, I didn't have crazy vision. I did see like little circles, like squiggly lines and things like that. I saw it. But I was really into myself. I felt the music. I felt the vibration around me. I think one of the biggest things I probably do a little different next time around is if I were to do it. So where I did it is in a big room with a lot of people, and you start feeling energy from people around you. You perceive that energy. So maybe I do it in a place where there's lots of people. That would help a lot because there's less energy I have to deal with. It's also very funny because there's a point in one of the second time around on Saturday, we did another ceremony, and the guy across the room, he started laughing, like he was having a blast. Definitely, he was just screaming and hollering, and it was really funny. Someone started laughing, and then it was contagious. Like everybody started laughing for no reason. It's just there. But you feel this feeling of love, of nurture, of understanding. So I think that's what Aya really does, and it's really yourself, but on a deeper level.
So
it was an amazing experience.
So this was a one-time experience, is what you're saying? If I'm getting this information correct, it was a one-time experience, but you took multiple hits. The first hit, you didn't really feel anything, but the second hit, you kind of started to feel a little bit more something. Like that's where you heard Mother Aya calling you, and you started feeling this. Would you say it was a divine feminine energy?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The voice feminine. So it was very beautiful. It was my first time doing it. But in that, because it's a weekend retreat, you could do it. You have the opportunity to do it on Friday, and then you could do it on Saturday as well. Saturday, you can do it morning and night. One still processing, information from the night before. I felt like if I did the morning, I would be overwhelmed. I only did the night morning. Now I want to go back and all matter. I really do want to go back and try all three at once. I think one of the important things is they ask you. This is another thing. I felt like at some point on Friday during that second dose, I was tripping pretty good. It was good. It was fun, but it was intense, and I didn't know on Saturday how much of a dosage I should receive, because now the during the first time around in that Saturday ceremony, you could do 2 tablespoons. Now it didn't have to be one because you've already tried what one would be like. So I wasn't sure if I should do more. If I so the coaches there, they explained what it has to do with ego. And I'm sorry if it's loud in here, by the way. Um, it really has to do with ego and what, 'cause sometimes your ego plays with you, and they'll say, oh, you should take more, don't be such a punk, and you should take less because you can't handle that much. So I think it kind of just plays out the way I went through it was whatever number popped up the most, that's the one that I was gonna do. So for me it was 2, and then I did 2 right off the bat. And then I didn't take a second dose. So I was like, that's good enough. So
So do you feel like, can you go into more detail about the calling? Because some people say like Mother Aya calls them to try it. Like, other than the TikTok video, like, what was it? Was it like an inner voice within you? Oh man. Okay. So she's a, there we go. We're
sorry about
back.
that.
No, you're good. Is it the Wi-Fi?
No, it's just my earphones fell out, and then everything just like turned off.
I got you. Well, I won't take too much of your time, but I just got a few questions. Like, so
Good.
my thing is the calling. I want to touch on that. Like, different people hear like a voice, and then it's followed by some form of repetition where they say like you said, you seen the TikTok that showed you like it was this retreat. And also, I'm not vaccinated either. So that's a whole different story, but they like the van videos, so I won't even get in too deep about that. But I will say this: you are keeping your DNA pure. That latent DNA that activates like after death, your higher self, that DNA is remaining pure. But that's all I'll really say about that. But the calling, to get back to that, like, what was it like?
So first, like I said, I don't even remember the video I saw on YouTube. I just know it was this video, and that's how I kind of got into it. And I don't know, I just kept wanting to. I want to try lots. I want to try, and that just went for years and years and years till now. And I don't know how old I was, but I was pretty young. I don't even know, why would I think about, or I don't know, why would that be so meaningful to me as young as I was? But it was, and it stood out to me for so long, which is why I wanted to try it. That's
So
why I said I felt
so I hear like with other experiences where people say like the same thing, where you start to experience, like start to feel other people's energy, like, and you start to kind of tap into them.
Yeah.
So is there another calling to do it again? Like, is it a very urgent and loud calling?
It's not a loud, urgent calling, but yes, there is a calling. I think that I need to work on the things that I've learned, they seem very simple. Again, it's just to love yourself and love around you. And they seem simple, but in the kind of world that we live in, where we judge and criticize each other and ourselves so much, it's a little difficult. So I think I need to fix these things first. The iron was a guide. It's not a elixir where everything just goes away. when you drink it. That's not how it works. It gives you guidance and it's a path, and you have to put in the rest of the work. That's how that works. So I want to put in that work because otherwise I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna receive the same message or something similar, and it's gonna feel great. But then I don't really want to go just because I feel amazing. I want to go because I have certain things that I want to reach, spiritual potential that I know I can tap in, and a lot of things that I know I'm capable of. But I need to focus on those first.
So, so were you a person that meditated prior to this experience? Like, were you an app? Was that like something part of your daily routine prior, like years before, or was it something you started to prepare for this experience?
Yeah, for sure. I started meditating also pretty early on and on by myself. Like it wasn't like I saw a video and or I read something somewhere or heard. No, it was just I was really on my own. I didn't know what I was doing. And then eventually, because I heard someone else talk about it, I clicked it. I was like, oh, that's what I've been doing. But I've always done that on my own.
So you were doing the work prior, essentially. So now let me ask you this: out of between meditating and ayahuasca, what do you think that where do you think you receive your most powerful revelational thoughts, through meditation or through aya?
Both of those can only take you so far. Again, you have to put in the work. I think Aya definitely reveals a lot to me that I haven't been able to accomplish through meditating all these years. However, meditation has definitely helped me a lot.
It helps you feel that self-confidence and love yourself, that better feeling. So how often do you meditate then now, even after the experience? Is it something that's really in your routine a lot, or is it when you can?
Before it was more when I could. Now it's more like I try to make it at least, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of my time. Even in the shower, if I'm showering, well, that's the time I use to meditate and kind of just relax and um, put myself together in a sense. Do
Yeah,
some
because
breath work and things like that.
I was actually just about to do a video about how you receive a lot of your revelational thoughts in the shower. That's when we receive these etheric downloads, especially if you shower in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But it has the same impact. But every
Yeah.
meditation is different for everybody. But I think what was it? The call we had the calling, we addressed that. Now your first hit, you kind of felt like nothing until your second hit, you started hearing the voice. Um, and that I did one interview where someone said that they kind of, there are some people who experience nothing, and it's because they kind of already had the inner work done prior, and
Right.
it's okay like to experience nothing. So it's just like, maybe through meditating you already had that inner work, and then like the second dose was the peeling back more of the layers to reveal to yourself what you needed to heal. Now describe the taste. Like,
Oh man. So I was kind of worried about the taste because I had bread, but it tastes better. Everybody is different, of course. But for me, I decided to smell it first. It was kind of sweet. It's dark in color and it's thick. It has like kind of grainy. Um, when you taste it the first time, it's fine. It's okay. When you taste it the second time, it's terrible. And each time after the first, it starts getting worse. Yeah, it gets thicker, it gets more grainy, it gets more bitter.
yeah, because
It's
I've
like your
heard.
body already knows that it's gonna go through some healing. It's gotta purge.
So speaking of the purge, how long does the purge like come? after you ingested it? Like, you know how you take, if you ever take a shot, you have that instant urge to like chuck it back
Yeah.
up after you had too much. How long does it sit into your body before you have the urge to purge it all out?
I think everybody's different. For me, it was on that second dose. Um, and yeah, everybody's different. For me, it was on the second dose, and there's different ways of purging. I mean, it could be coming up one way, coming up the other. It can be burping, it can be shaking, sweating. Um, there's different ways. Yeah, but I would say in general, so around me, it seemed like 25, 30 minutes most people were purging. Um, yeah, for me, in purging, when I say purging throwing up, for me, it was in the second dose. But in general, like shaking, um, and when I say shaking, I mean like not like, but like kind of like with shaking your body. That's what I mean. Um, and it was like 25, 30 minutes into that dose.
So, so what did the, was there like a time dilation where you felt like time moved slower while you were under the influence of it? Or was it like kind of one of those things where it didn't exist? How would
Time
you
did not
describe
exist.
time?
Time did not exist at all. I wasn't worried. It was just slow. I wasn't like it wasn't it didn't exist. And then when it was over, it was over.
And did they reassess your vitals afterwards? Like, was that a thing? Like,
Um, I'm sure they would have if they saw that because there's a person that's um assigned to you that watches over you and one of the persons. So they have like different people just watching assigned to just to make sure that you're okay. I'm sure if they saw signs that you weren't, then they would. For example, someone was tripping up pretty hard and they couldn't stand up. And so they had a few people, like one of the people who was assigned to him, called over some other people and then they had to like pick him up and kind of take him outside. I'm sure they did vitals for him.
so
Yeah.
nothing bad happened really to anyone. Like, to like,
No.
all right.
I know
And
someone, I know, sorry that I interrupt you, but I know someone on Saturday in the morning ceremony, I know they had someone try kind of like running away to run away. They cut up to him and they kind of calmed him down, some breath work, and then it was fine.
that's something I forgot to mention. Like the breath work, was that something you also practiced before? Or was this like the first time?
This is actually the first time, so I had never really practiced breath work before, and they taught us some things and kind of how to deal with if there was anxiety throughout the journey. They said that there's no journey that's a bad journey. It's just you just have to kind of ask Aya to be gentle with you if it gets too intense.
So what I'm getting is Mother Aya is essentially your highest self. Like,
Correct.
and some people say like they see God, but God is all up into a form of interpretation, like, so
Right.
what, as far as like religious, like that's one of the things that I tend to forget to ask people, especially people who have had near death experience, because they all have their interpretation of this godlike entity. So what was were you religious prior to this experience? Are you still religious?
Um, honestly, my parents they're Christian, and my mom she wanted me to grow up in church. I was very rebellious towards this. I never believed in church, and um, I I remember this one time I told her I was gonna go to the restroom, and I just like went walking. So I think that gave up. She was like, "This is not going to work. She's not into this." So I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual. Yeah, I don't really have a religion, so to speak. I've always been spiritual, and that's what I still consider myself.
What is spiritual in your definition?
I feel energy. Energy is around us. We are energy. What we think is energy. Um, Anything that we put out, these vibrations, it it makes us. So there is something bigger, and maybe it's us. Maybe it's us. We just gotta find it.
I can go with that. I can definitely agree with that. I mean, as you see, my content is this, it preaches the same message, and I feel like I'm collecting a lot of like-minded individuals like yourself, and I'm grateful for you taking the time out of your workday. I don't want to take too much more time, so I will cut this short, and I'm thankful for you coming on tonight. It is on live right now, so you can view it at any time. I come back to these videos and take notes on them. I try to take notes in between, but I also rewatch them. And then if I have other questions, I'll probably shoot you an email or whatnot and try to address it there. But as far as that, yours was pretty clear cut and dry, right to the point, you know, like, and it was perfect because you're about to go to work, right? Like,
Yeah,
or at, so
I'm
it,
at work.
yeah, so this, it worked out because it was just like, I think you were one of the rare people who I've interviewed so far who you kind of, you didn't have a nothing like you, but you had to peel back some layers to get more out of you. And I guess the last question I'm going to ask to truly wrap this up is, now to just touch back on, like, you are doing the work for love and nurturing yourself, in your honest opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know that there's certain times since I've been back to the real world. And this is something that I want to touch up because it's important. A lot of people think, and I said it before, a lot of people think that you just take this magic elixir and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fixed and it's going to be amazing. That's not how it works. You got to put in the work. And the world around you does not change after this retreat. You've changed maybe, but the world and the people around you have not changed. And you are different and you will talk different and you will act different, even if it's for 2 days after that retreat, because you felt something that you've never felt before. And it changes the way that who you are, at least those 2 days if you don't put in that work, right? Um, but and I had that. My mom saw the difference. My partner saw the difference, and it was a big, kind of like a big hit. So there's moments where because we live in this world, we go back to our routines, and then I've had that, and I stopped myself and I said, wait, no, this is not who I want to be. So, of course, we're human. We make mistakes, so that's okay. We just gotta fix it.
We grow through those mistakes, you know, like
Right.
suffering is the catalyst to grow. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Once again,
Thank
I
you.
can't thank you enough for coming on this particular interview for my particular project. And I'm I'm doing the
It was
work
a
as well. It
pleasure.
was a pleasure. So I hope you continue doing the work. It was a pleasure talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. You too.
Take
Have a
care.
good night.
Have a good night.